Hello and welcome once again to yet another edition of the Red Groove Revolution podcast. I'm your host Earl Holder and aka DJ Solero, and I have a special guest tonight in the house tonight. Legendary singer, songwriter, composer, guitar player, Mr. Ernie Hines. Mr. Hines, thank you so much for availing time out of your very busy schedule to come on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Earl. It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much for coming on the program. Now, for starters, what are some of your humble beginnings as a musician?
Born in Jackson, Mississippi, raised up and educated through the time I spent at Tougaloo College on a football scholarship, excluding the time I spent in Duluth, Minnesota, studying art competition. Seems I was born with a gift to be able to draw anything. And during that time, I was living with my dad, whose home was Duluth, and getting to know him. He was a World War II Purple Heart recipient. Along the way, somehow, though, music won the day and took over my life. But being athletic, during the summer, I played semi-pro baseball with the Duluth Baseball Travelers of Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay. And how did you get discovered and eventually land a deal at Stax Records?
Well, long story short, it was through Al Bell, who was the president of Stax Records, and who initially signed and recorded me. And my first recordings were on the Stax record label. Before he turned me over to Joe Bridges and Tom Nixon, and we produced record label. And the long story short, after marriage, leaving college, and various jobs, I was taken under the wing of a noted salesman, district manager, James Baker, who was out of Memphis, Tennessee, who was training me to be a district sales manager in the Mississippi area. My sales were so good that he brought me to Memphis to give a pep talk to the sales staff. They even bought me my first car. That was exciting, if you can imagine that. Anyway, then I headed out looking for my own district and gospel group to conquer. Didn't find the district I was looking for, but I found a top vocal group in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who was in need of a guitarist. And by this time, I was playing the guitar quite well. It made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I moved the family to Baton Rouge. And over the next 6 years, I worked with the well-known DJ in Baton Rouge, Alvin Dixon. They call him Biggie Doo. And he promoted various types of entertainment, the gospel groups from all over America, the R&B singers, and Biggie used me and my group, the Scotland Airs, and we worked with various artists like Slim Harpo, Joe Valentine's band, the Imperials, Clyde McFadden, some of the groups I would personally work with, Johnny Taylor. Elsie Cook, I was his personal guitarist up until he passed away 2 years back in 2017. And so, but it was Roscoe Robinson, well-known gospel and R&B singer, who was in Baton Rouge promoting his first big hit, That's Enough, for Warren Scepter Records. He heard me play some of my music at Big's record shop, and he said, "If you'll come to Chicago, Ernie, I'll set up a record deal for you, and we'll record some of your music." And so that's what I did. And we recorded those songs at Chess Records. And from there, I had music released on USA Records, then on Stax, reproduced records. And presently, I'm recording on my own record label of Baby Blue Records, and the music is worldwide.
Okay. And what is a standout memory you have during the making of your highly sought after 1972 album, Electrified?
I think about how warmly I was welcomed when I flew into Memphis to meet the staff and the musicians. The excitement that was generated from from the very first songs, a couple of them, helped me put out the flame in my heart, and I can't stand the pain that the musicians got excited about, and some top musicians too. There was Doug Dunn and Al Jackson of Booker T and the MGs. There was the Barcades that was on the session, Judy and the Darlings. It was a lot of fun. And that record, that album now, there have been other artists that have covered Electrified, like the Temprees, Johnny Adams, John Legend, and the Roots. And it's been sampled by Jay-Z and Genuine also.
That's right. That's right. And speaking of songs that are off of the Electrified 1972 album, for the viewers watching, who wrote the song that many record collectors in the hip hop field tend to know your music from? The song Our Generation. Who wrote the song Our Generation?
Leon Moore. It was a pleasure meeting him. Leon was a school teacher, pianist, writer, living in Chicago, who Joe Bridges and Tom Nixon asked me to collaborate with. Initially, the title of that song was Younger Generation. But Leon and I thought better about that title, and we came up with something that we thought would have more longevity, to give it more life, a longer life. And it appears that it has done just that we changed the title from Younger Generations to Our Generation. I guess you could say the rest is history.
That is true. That is true. And what are some of your feelings on the tune Our Generation getting sampled in rap music? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I have no problem with rap as long as it's done in good taste and with a positive message. I can do without the vulgarities and the negative connotations. And I don't think it's necessary. As a matter of fact, it turns me off.
Okay, okay. Well, how do you feel about the rap music, the younger generation reintroducing, or rather, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. How do you feel about the rap generation reintroducing your music to a younger generation, since we're on the topic of generations?
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
It's a great R&B pop rap song. That's how I like to think of it. It has great harmony and a beat that sticks in your head. It's like a backbeat. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that Pete Rock and Cyril Smooth would choose to sample Our Generation for the rap version that they called Straighten It Out. All the elements were there for a rap song taken from Our Generation.
Okay, okay. And what was your overall experience like playing at the Wattstax Festival of 1972? Because I'm just now finding out about this, that you actually played what is called the Black Woodstock, or one of the Woodstock festivals of the early 70s, 1972 to be exact. How was your experience doing that, playing that festival?
Well, it was a very big deal. Imagine 90,000 people in the Los Angeles Coliseum. It was
Yes.
exciting. And the song I chose to do and we worked on was a song from the album, What Would I Do Without Your Love? Oh, in hindsight, looking back, I should have sang Our
Our
Generation.
generation, right?
Yeah, that's the one that seems lyrics, like Electrified Love and Your Love. I've had a lot of covers from other artists that covered songs from the Electrified Ernie Hines album. And I'm still getting requests from record companies that are still releasing that album.
I believe it. I believe it. And what was your overall experience being on Stack Records again? Like, how was your overall experience? How's it like?
Well, Stack Enterprise and Reproduce Records all had a very good thing going. But in a turmoil brought the company down. And that's been right up to about that. Otherwise, how could a well-produced album with every necessary ingredients for success fall through the cracks? I didn't know it at the time, but Stax days were kind of like numbered. And I had asked for a release and gotten it from Jim Stewart, the CEO, who just recently passed away, God rest his soul, around the time this was happening. But, and after that, what I did was play nightclubs, cocktail lounges, supper clubs, Holiday Inns, Ramada Inns through agencies like Robert Howell agency out of New York, Al Bordy out of Chicago, and gigs through Chicago Federations of Musicians and American Federations of Musicians in Canada. And along the way, I became a dermatologist, guild gemologist for leading Chicago Jewelry Company, and numerous honors, awards before going back into digging and recording full time.
Okay, okay, all right. And so basically, you after Stax Records folded in 1975, you were basically playing clubs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what are you up to these days?
Recording on my record label, Baby Blue Records, that was uh, incorporated with my publishing company in 2000. That's Color for Music, Baby Blue Records, Inc. And I've always been a BMI writer and publisher, uh, releasing music from back in the day. And that release was 2011, and I have other music that's still in the can and others that enough for a couple of albums now to record. There's a inspirational album, That Is a Way, that's getting a lot of notice. And Christmas songs, anniversary songs, that kind of stuff I'm doing nowadays.
Okay. Well, any last words before we go?
Well, you can find my music and purchase it, old and new, videos too, at Ernie Hines official website. I'd love to have your audience and those who like my music around the world. I'd love to have them go to Ernie Hines' official website, give me feedback and support. And I thank them in advance. And all the best to everyone who gets to know me through my music.
Mr. Hines, Mr. Ernie Hines, thank you so much for availing time once again out of your schedule to come on the show. And you are definitely welcome to come back anytime.
It's my pleasure, Earl, and thanks for having me, and all of the best to you, my friend.
Anytime. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Pleasure.
All right.